It's time to pick your favorites and decide what is shit. Are you ready for this? It's the tier list. Come on, let's go. It's time for the tier list show.
Live from Midnight's Edge After Dark, it's Sunday night. Welcome everybody to the Tier List Show. Awesome. Oh, we got musical guest even with Paul Chatto and the Midnight's Edge After Dark Orchestra.
I gotta tune this.
What happened?
Good evening, Paul.
Okay,
well, we got Paul here as a special guest tonight because we're going to talk funny movies, and he's a funny guy. We also have Greg with us from Fanzine. How you doing, Greg?
Doing good. Glad to be here on the Tier List Show. I like it. I enjoy doing this with you guys. Been fun.
And I'm sad to report that Francisco Franco is still dead. So yes. And Nick Weiser is here as well. How you doing, Nick?
Doing pretty good, man. How are you doing?
Hopefully we're gonna have fun. This is a fun batch of
fun.
films. It was a great idea from ActionCom to count down the Saturday Night Live films. Now, yeah, we're leaving out things like Three Amigos and Tommy Boy and Black Sheep. So we're not counting those. These are specific films that they had to be skits or characters from SNL. So to keep that in mind. So that also helps.
Okay. So that's the criteria. Yes, because Three Amigos was a
written by
Lorne Michaels movie.
Yep.
It produced by
Yep.
Lorne Michaels.
Mm-hmm.
So I've debated on that, and I even thought about bringing in SNL, the Saturday night movie that just came out. But I'm like, you know what? We already got plenty on the list as it is. But if you got your guitar tuned, it sounded like you had some musical.
No. Oh, I got a new song I'm working on. But I won't do it right now. I can play.
Is your new song "Why I Wake Up 5 Times in the Middle of the Night to Pee"?
that's my next one. Where is it? You guys keep talk. I'll dig it up.
Maybe I'll get a diaper and have
I like that Tom, and not only is he like
Why do
when
I
he
have
takes
to get up 5
suggestions
times in the night to pee?
or he thinks of the idea for the tier list, there's always a really distinctive criteria. There's not like some massive flaw with it. Like when we did the Mel Gibson, it was Mel Gibson movies that he acted in, not directed, because there is a whole other category for directed too.
And not just that, he had to be one of the main stars.
Respect, Tom. I love that you do that. It's good because people can, when you start like doing these things where you complicate your list. Well, what about when so and so produces? Like, no, we're gonna complicate things, and then you make the show go all day. Eventually, people are just gonna leave. We don't.
A Mel Gibson list that did not include a movie where he disparaged Jews drunkenly.
No, there wasn't one of those on there. But anyhow, hello everybody out there in the chat. We're glad to have you here, and yes, we're gonna get this rolling here. And I don't know what order to take these in. Let's see here. How should I do this? I just threw them in here, so we'll start at this end. From the right to the left, I guess. First one up is Stuart Saves His Family. Now, hopefully you guys have seen this.
I have not seen Stuart Saves His Family.
Okay, now this is one of my personal favorites.
Okay.
It is not a very great movie, but it's just one of those movies where there's a lot of... It's like if you have a chaotic family, you get this movie.
Is this an Al Franken Stewart's?
Yes, so it's Stuart Smalley. Of his 12-step program.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and it's basically about his whole family, and it's a bit different than the other Saturday Night Live movies. You can tell it was a passion project for Franken. It did not do well at the box office.
I don't think so.
No, it didn't do well. But the basic outline is just like his aunt dies and he returns home, and he just has to deal with his crazy ass family. Vincent D'Onofrio plays his brother.
No.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it's got a pretty decent, like, lesser known cast other than that, but like they're just, It is. It doesn't feel like your typical SNL movie. It's much more of a dramedy, if that makes sense, right? But check out the trailer if you haven't seen it. Maybe you'll enjoy.
I heard about it.
Yeah,
Heard about it. I mean, what a great. Yeah, sounds great.
I think Julia Sweeney's in it and a couple other SNL alumni, but it's not like you would expect it to be like Stewart just talking with a bunch of people throughout the entire film, because the movie starts out, he gets fired or his show gets canceled or whatever.
Right.
So that's kind of like the whole thing. And then his aunt dies, so then he returns home, and then it's him dealing with his whole family and just the nonsense. So who on
you have to rate it
besides me? I would give it a B.
But, oh wow.
Yeah, that's pretty high. I know, but
that's fine.
You haven't seen it, Paul. But Greg, have you seen it?
Yes, I have seen this. It's been a few years, so I don't quite remember everything about it, but I do remember enjoying it when I saw it. Yeah,
well, that's all that counts, right?
Yeah, that's all that really matters. I do remember having a fun time with it. I mean, it is a little bit relatable with his family because, like, there's always the one kid in your family who's sort of an outcast from the rest of your family, and the families that's like this crazy bunch of people, and that child has to come back and help fix the family that he never wanted to be a part of. So it is actually a pretty decent movie. It is, I would say, it's a little bit of an undersung Saturday Night Live movie. I know you like it, Tom, but I would maybe give it a C.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
So,
Nick, have you seen it?
An outcast like the four of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Technically, yes.
It's funny because I agree with everything that Greg said except for the C. I'm going to put it in the B because I thought this was a really solid movie when it came out. And I had no idea. When I had heard it was based off an SNL, I was like, oh, what? But yeah, it just goes to show you it was true, genuine love.
You know what? You convinced me. I'll make it a B because what I did talk it up. And it has been a few years.
You buttered us up and then you brought us down. It's like you're teasing us. You're gonna give us salted butter. You're like, oh no, it's gonna be lightly salted. It's like no.
I almost feel like we gotta watch the trailer for this one.
Yeah,
so people even know what this is.
There's a Ramis in there, Violet Ramis.
Yeah, I don't know if it's related. I think that's maybe Harold's daughter. I'm not 100%.
I'm going to do a terrific show today because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
Look at the sweater.
Hello, I'm Stuart Smalley. Ever since I was a kid,
Go!
I knew there was something wrong with my family. My father grew up in the Great Depression. His mother's. So he wasn't very supportive.
Is Sir Eat-a-Lot getting a little nervous?
And my mother was much better at cooking than nurturing.
What was your name again?
Waste of space.
Which is probably why I became kind of a guru of the self-help movement.
Darn you, Mom!
Darn you, Mom!
I suppose I'm such a success because my childhood was such a challenge.
I remember you when you were this high and this wide.
As for my family,
we all want to go home and save our families, but we can't.
Yeah. Well, they haven't changed much.
Shut him, right? Shut him!
Okay, Jody, look, I would never ordinarily say this, but is there any way you can get to a pound cake?
Stewart saves his family.
All right!
You'll laugh because it's not your family.
Is everyone crazy?
You'll cry because it is.
Well, that's the Smalley family. We're, dysfunctional. But who isn't?
It was it was directed by Harold. That's right. Harold directed it. So it might be one of his relation.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, now I want to watch that again.
It's funny. It's not available on Blu-ray, which is sad, but yeah.
A lot of things aren't available in any way, shape, or form.
It's not even on Paramount Plus. You have to buy it on Amazon if you want to watch it. I wanted to rewatch it for the show.
A lot of these weird movies are pirated on YouTube. You can find them sometimes.
Well, I remember when we did Tom way back when we did Revenge of the Nerds for Toxic Tuesday, and it was not any streaming service. So it was like you either have to own that physical media or like buy it on like what was it called? Amazon, or hopefully YouTube had it. I can't remember if YouTube did or did not have it, but It's like it was like a low key way of letting you know this movie's super canceled.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's a B since Nick and I put it in the B's. That's
Sounds
where we're
like
gonna
a
go
B.
with it.
Yeah.
Wow. High praise indeed.
And speaking of B's, we got Brian joining us, aka that 70s rock fan. Diddly diddly
Hey.
potatoes.
Oh, hey. Hey, guys.
Good to see
Yo,
It's great to see you. It's good to see Paul. Meg.
Have you seen Stuart Saves His Family? Your
I
timing is actually
have.
pretty good. And what would you rate it?
I really, really enjoyed it when I saw it. And I actually didn't really expect to enjoy it, but I did. And I would say a B is certainly reasonable.
Wow.
Yes.
There you go. You got it from all of us.
It's
I think
a hidden gem of the SNL canon, I think. Spin-off canon. Yeah.
Like I said, it is
is
a
it up
different
there with
film.
Gregory's Girl?
Gregory's Girl would be an S tier above A.
Okay.
Well,
we
I
don't
know
have an S tier here.
and Local
Gregory's
Hero
Girl
too.
is one of the first few movies I have to watch with the subtitles on.
Yeah. It's still a great movie, though, isn't it?
Oh, no. It's one of my favorite
I know.
movies.
I know you love it, Paul. Yes, and Local Hero. That's
Local Hero, fantastic.
Love that too. Yes, but they're not in the show tonight, unfortunately.
No. And
all right,
also,
now we're getting to the one of the
movie.
best
Comfort and
SNL
Joy.
films ever
Comfort and
made.
Joy.
This is up there with Citizen Kane. It's got to be. It's Pat, the ultimate.
Didn't see it.
Okay, nobody saw it, probably but me.
I've seen it.
I've seen it.
Okay, so we do have a few people who've seen it. This movie,
Why?
Why not?
You almost have to see it to just believe it. Okay, because the whole movie is predicated around the idea that they're supposed to reveal if Pat is a man or a woman.
Yes.
And in the movie, let me tell you something. Pat works. Well, I'll be honest with you. Pat didn't really work for a fucking skit, to be honest. It was kind of annoying. It was really stupid. It's a one-time joke that works. And then after that, it sucks. And the biggest problem with Pat is a jerk. All right. Pat is an obnoxious prick. And they're full of themselves and they treat everybody like shit. Okay. And so that's not a very likable character when they're not charismatic like Han Solo.
Yes.
Right? See, that's a problem. And then you have the issue of what is it, Dave Foley, I think it is, from Kids in the Hall. They introduce this Pat's love interest as another androgynous person named Chris. And you actually feel sorry for Chris by the end of the movie because Pat is such a piece of shit. And then you have Charles Rocket throughout the film, just obsessed with trying to figure out if Pat is a male or a female. And it all leads up to this big thing where finally Pat gets hung up on stage with their pants down and all we see is their ass.
Unlike Pat, this is a very slender plot in the movie.
It is one of the dumbest fucking who thought this was a good idea for a movie besides Julia Sweeney? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, Lorne Michaels, this is where the SNL movies completely went off the rails. Like, I'm sure it didn't cost that much to make. It is obviously probably one of the cheaper of the SNL films, but I mean, help me out here, guys. I know, Paul, you said you hadn't seen it. So, Greg.
I just remember just seeing Charles Rocket go absolutely insane in this movie, trying to figure out who Pat was. And he's like, I think he even has some kind of like loving feelings to him towards them, as
tries to end up having sex with him just to find out.
Yeah, just to like a seducer, whatever it's supposed to be. I remember not really caring for the character on Saturday Night Live to begin with, and when I saw that this was actually a movie, I believe I watched it on Comedy Central back in the day when they were used to play movies like that, and I just remember thinking, why? Why was this made? So yeah, it is. She is very an annoying character, and I do remember Dave Foley's character. Just like it just kind of feels like a whole pointless movie, to be honest with you. Just like it goes nowhere. It just falls.
Yeah, it is kind of like skit after skit after skit. The only thing that really kind of holds it together is the love story between the two of them, and even that meet cute story is probably the best part of the movie. But then it just from there, like I say, you just keep going. Why is Chris still with Pat?
Yeah.
Pat's a piece of shit. You deserve better, Chris. Much better than this, because you actually really do start to feel sorry for the character, and then they end up together at the end anyway, and it's like, it is one of the dumbest things in the world. It is just, I can't believe how much I remember of this movie, because I remember how much I hated it. Like, I was like going into it thinking like, okay, this is gonna be bad, but I was thinking this is gonna be one of those it's so bad it's good movies.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like one of those movies. By the end of it, like, you're just feeling, I think it really made me feel like shit. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, it just is like, I don't want to watch this anymore.
It's shockingly bad. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian. What did you
think?
It's
just shockingly bad. I don't know how much Julia Sweeney wrote in other things, but she wrote this and it wasn't very good. It's kind of like we'll give you a movie because everybody else has had one. So it's
you're muted.
You're muted.
Paul's muted, yeah.
Paul, you're
still muted, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just practicing.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I have nothing to add to this. So I've been.
It's
practicing.
a dreadful movie, which I watched thinking, well, the sketch was fairly amusing in places, but.
You got to give Lorne Michaels credit though for this is very daring, to tell you the truth.
Oh, very daring.
I give Lorne all this credit for just swinging for the fences for this stuff.
It was a bit ahead of its time as far as the gender thing.
Oh, it would never be allowed to do this now.
It wouldn't be allowed to do it. And not only that, the point of the movie is actually not bad. The point of the movie is it doesn't fucking matter, right? Just let people live their lives. It doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it does matter.
But now, yeah, that idea has changed. So, look, I don't know if we can really make any more arguments.
Well, I will tell you the truth. In Hollywood, when I was there, people were obsessed with finding out who was gay and who wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not joking. You get into a meeting with someone and they want to know. They go, well, you're that.
And this is Julia kind of working her own shit too out, isn't it? Because didn't she come out the closet like 10 years ago? Julia Sweeney or something like that?
What a shock that was. Oh,
that's
no.
Really?
Surely Paul.
What this probably was her just working this shit out, basically.
But surely, Paul, that was a pretty easy challenge in Hollywood. You just start from the assumption everyone's gay and then figure out who isn't.
Everyone is gay now. Everyone is gay now.
Nick,
obviously not you, Paul. I mean, obviously not you.
No, I'm not gay. Not gay at all.
Robust masculinity.
How about them bears?
Them bears.
Paul is only like 50% gay tops, so
yes. Most people in the UK are in England are gay.
Well,
sound at least like baseline 25%.
Gay in the UK.
No one's as gay as Tom. Tom's the gayest guy in the stream.
Well, I'm 25% gay. Depending on the day.
Well, that would make you really, really straight in the UK.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm pretty I'm masculine as fuck in the UK.
The one thing to remember is if you don't swallow, you're not gay.
That's true. If you get paid, it's not gay, and there's a few other rules that Paul made up as well. So
let the laughter happen, Tom. Then talk.
It's something to do with eye contact.
I did not swallow.
It's eye contact that
counts. At least that's what Paul keeps telling me before he gives me a candy bar. Anyway.
I know.
I'm sure it's a candy bar, all right.
This has gotten wonderfully juvenile.
Way off.
All right, Nick, did you see Pat?
Oh, fuck no. I've ever seen that show. Okay. This movie looked retarded, so I never watched it.
No, that's not. I wasn't going to invest in Pat.
Trailer did its job on not selling me, and I was one of those kids where if something didn't flatter me with the trailer, I couldn't wait to not watch it at a young age. So
I'm not even going to force you kids to watch the trailer. So don't worry about
puberty.
that.
Okay, put it up. What's the score?
All right, it's an F. Greg, you didn't really say much about it.
It was an F.
Yeah.
If it wasn't on Comedy Central, I wouldn't have watched it.
All right, now here's the first one I have never seen. Superstar, because I hated the character on the show. So go ahead, guys. Paul, you start, because I think you actually like this movie.
No, I've not
seen it.
Did not see it.
Greg, did you sniff it?
I have seen this. I think I've seen all these Saturday Night Live movies. So
I'm not surprised with you.
I grew up I grew up watching the '90s Saturday Night Live, and then also, I would go back and watch the old ones.
And how would this be funny?
It's not. If you like a bunch of middle-aged people playing teenagers, pretending like one is Will Ferrell is like the hottest kid in school, and Molly Shannon is, what was her name? Catherine
He's
Mary
the
Gallagher.
best dancing boy in school.
Yeah,
Get it right.
And then they
He's
have
not
like
necessarily the hottest. Sorry.
whatever. It's I would give it a D at best. I can't, it's
Actually,
like,
I've seen more of this movie than I want to admit. I'm sorry.
I remember there's like a group of like kids, like the outcast kids, and like one of them thinks he's always drunk, so he's going through the DTs, but he's not going through the DTs because he's never drank alcohol or smoked weed or anything ever. So I remember that kid, and I remember she makes out with the tree because she did that sketch all the time on the the thing. It's not a good movie.
No,
It's not.
Yeah, I mean, it's just another bit of evidence that women aren't funny.
Which is sad because I think this is one of the more higher grossing ones besides the Wayne World ones.
It's just like everybody's like superstar, and it was like,
I know it was so big.
Funny.
I think I watched about half of it because that's why I remember, and I specifically remember her saying that because that was one of the only bits I laughed at when she's like, he's the bestest dancing boy in school instead of saying he's the bestest looking boy in school.
No, yeah.
Because the whole thing leads up to the dance at the end or whatever, and I've seen like the end of it once too. Like it was on Cinemax constantly, so I remember seeing at least bits and pieces of it here or there.
They really wanted people to watch it.
Did you see it, Nick?
Going to happen. With regret, yes. I had a very horrible memories of this. I got outvoted at a video rental store by my buds. I came out for 6th or 7th grade. I think I wanted to rent WWF No Mercy for N64, and I got outvoted by fucking Superstar. And I'm watching this shit, and they're all talking about this movie sucks. Like, you should have listened to me. Fucking got No Mercy.
Nick,
playing against each other in 64.
You needed new friends, Nick.
Oh, dude, yeah. They weren't friends for more than a year after that. That shit was the beginning of the end.
I never had friends like that ever again after that summer, and I'm glad.
Yeah. When we have couples over, we have several test films. One is The Ruttles. One is Mystery Men, and the other one is Zoolander. And so if they if they like all three, then we know we're okay.
That's the test.
I like 2 out of the 3, but I got to rewatch Zoolander. At the time,
I love Zoolander.
In 20 years, I gotta rewatch Zoolander.
But it helps when you've got a daughter who went to fashion school and a wife who is a seamstress and went to fashion school also. So you're pretty much immersed in W magazines and which is a high-end fashion magazine. And so I know an awful lot of the culture just from my daughter and my wife. And I even took my daughter to fashion shows. So
there you go.
So yeah, for me, Zoolander is a high mark. One, because it has David Bowie in it. And anyway, so
yeah, no,
we're not talking about Zoolander. Sorry,
we're not talking about Zoolander, but no, you're fine, Paul. I was just gonna say, have you seen it, Brian? Or
no.
Okay,
that's not one I'd even barely recognize it, to be honest.
All right, I'm gonna leave this up to the chat. Then we're gonna put this out in a poll. You guys, because I have a hard time putting this as low as I would because I have a feeling there's a generation of kids who actually like this movie.
It's like I say, it's not as bad as Pat. So
okay.
It doesn't deserve an F, but it's barely a D. So
but
that's where I would put it.
So it's a death.
Yeah.
I don't want to trash this movie and get piss a bunch of people off.
Just give it an F.
No, I'll leave it up to the chat. This is up to the chat. Fine. So let's move on from there. Let's do The Ladies Man. Probably the last good Saturday Night Live movie that ever was.
Who's in this?
About the egg?
Oh, that's Tim Meadows. You haven't seen The Ladies Man?
Nope.
Oh, that was the Love Doctor.
Oh, I remember Tim. Yes. Was Tim funny?
Yeah. It is one of those movies where it's not great, but it's got a lot of great bits in it. That helps. It's one of those movies that's kind of grown a bit of a cult following over the years.
And he's dressed up as a woman?
No. He's like this guy stuck in the 70s. It was a skit he used to do on. It's basically like those old school radio DJs. He'd call him up and for love advice.
Yeah, I remember. I saw him on.
Yes,
SNL,
but he's
so.
completely unaware of how fucking out of touch he is. That's the joke, right? So like, yeah, it was fun. It was a cute little movie for what it was. Yeah, like
I liked him as a comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's funny, and it's
and considering he was one of the longest running members of Saturday Night Live, I think Lauren kind of owed him a movie.
Wasn't Tim Meadows part of the Ebersol era?
I think he started, I want to say, around the same time as Adam Sandler and all those guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But he was with the crew until more recent years. Like he was one of the last guys of those to leave, if I remember right. So like even at that time though, he was long running. Like he had stayed with him for a while. He might have predated that. You might be right. He might have been a little bit before that.
Oh, back in the days when they only had 30 cast members. It was so nice.
Right. And only 2 black guys per cast, right?
Yeah. and not a black lesbian woman who's not funny at all.
Was Wanda Sykes ever a cast member of SNL? No, I can't remember.
She could be funny.
She's funny, but
no, the one that's on now is beyond dreadful.
Oh yeah, but I couldn't remember if she was on SNL. That was my point.
I don't think Wanda Sykes was.
No, I don't think.
And Wanda Sykes stopped being funny at some point
when she would have come out of the closet, basically.
I guess so. Yeah.
So Greg, ladies' man,
rate it.
I like this movie. I will give it a C. I will give it a C right off the back because I do think it is funny. Tim Meadows. I always did like Tim Meadows. Got my cavatier, and you. It's like fill this out. Sex, yes, please. He writes it down, and yeah, that would be in the butt. I love it. He cracked me up with just his list and everything, and it does have a great cast to it, and you know, one of my favorite gags from Saturday Night Live when you guys talk about how he was like the longest tenured character, he didn't have a character till the Ladies' Man. Like he literally was like 20 years into the show till he got the Ladies' Man.
I thought Ladies' Man was like the Black Stuart Smalley.
Not exactly. It's sort of, but not exactly. Like Stewart actually is more or less just a straight up parody of those kind of therapy guys. The Ladies' Man is like I said, he is literally that 70s DJ guy stuck in that era.
Yeah.
And he's not a ladies' man at all, really. Yes, it was a good bit.
No, yeah.
Well, I mean, like the whole point of the movie is like Will Ferrell is in this too, and some of the other and that one comedian guy from Mousetrap with what's his name? Nathan Lane, the guy that's in Mousetrap. No, the other guy with him.
Nathan Lane. John Turturro.
Is that who's in that?
Is that who it is? I'm trying to think. Maybe it's somebody else. Yeah, I might be thinking of somebody else. You're right.
But like they think he's sleeping with their wives, and so like they gather up to come after him because they think he's sleeping with his wife, and then he almost like Tiffany Thiessen from Saved by the Bell is Will Ferrell's wife, and she does try to seduce him, but it's like he's really just like out of touch with it, and he just falls into these situations. It's good to have like these great skit after skit in it. It's pretty funny. I liked it. I'll give it a solid C. It made me laugh.
Idiot Savant might be right that Keenan might have beat him by now.
Yeah, Keenan should have retired a while ago.
Yeah. And to me, he's never not done it because he was always doing that kind of shit on Nickelodeon. So him going to SNL was almost like just graduating from high school. So you're saying about a C. I would give it about a C. Nick, have you seen The Ladies' Man? This is like a Toxic Tuesday movie.
It is. I like this movie. My only problem is I haven't seen it in a long time, and I'm curious to see where it's held up. So I'm going to go with a C only because it could be better, but I have not had a moment in my life to have a refresher. But I enjoyed this movie, so I'm going to give it a generous C.
Yeah, sad. Davina's almost right. At the way that SNL is now, he actually went from Big League to Bush League, leaving Nickelodeon to SNL. Because he had his own show on SNL, on Nickelodeon. When he came to SNL, he was part of a whole other cast. So all right. So what would you say again? I'm sorry, Nick. You said about a C or a B, or what did you say?
C.
C. All right. So we got a bunch of C's. Brian, have you seen it?
I have not seen this one either. No.
All right. Well, I think we got enough C's to put it in C's.
Yeah.
I think that's a safe bet. So let's check in on the score of the other one. Ooh, it's pretty close, and we only have 50 votes, so I'm gonna let that keep going while we check in with the super chats here.
Oh,
We
you
got
have
Jason.
2 votes.
2 votes, is that it?
Yeah, sorry. That's my 50-50.
Jason Webster says with $5, have you guys seen the Democratic Penguins Republic Trade War song parody on YouTube? It's hilarious. No, I haven't. I'll have to check that out, Jason. Thanks for the recommendation. And then he says Blues Brothers and Wayne's World. Yeah, those are definitely probably going to be A tier. We'll have to wait and see how those pan out. So, all right, let's keep moving along. We've got Night at the Roxbury. Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan as the brothers from the skits on Saturday Night Live, which the movie's okay. It's not bad. I know it has a cult following, and it was pretty popular at the time it came out.
It killed Chris Kattan's career.
Did it really?
I think so.
I thought he did that other movie afterwards, Corky Romano, and that killed his career.
Oh yeah,
he was good in Undercover Brother.
Yeah, but like the problem with this movie is the
One
Jim
Note.
Carrey. Yeah, the Jim Carrey version of the skit was the better than the movie ever could be, and it is a very one-note joke. You're right. So, Paul, have you seen it?
Yeah. I liked the 2 guys, but it just got tiresome, and why would I root for these idiots? So I'd put it a D.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of a Dumb and Dumber wannabe.
Yeah, but it was repetitive. There was just no change in their character. I barely remember it.
So you say a D?
I'm a D. I remember I was not impressed.
All right, Greg.
I will give it a C because I kind of liked it. I mean, it did make me laugh. I do like the Richard what's his name? Greco stuff in it. I like the Dan. Here's the thing. I like the people outside of the 2 leads. I like Dan Hedaya. I liked Richard Greco. I like the mom from WKRC. I can't think of her name right now because I'm losing it as I get older. From WKRC in Cincinnati.
WKRP.
WKRP. Sorry, I'm actually from.
You
Ohio,
are really losing it.
I'm used to.
You should have gotten that right, Greg. We got to take like 2 nerd points from you for that one.
Down here where I live, we actually have a channel called WKRC, Cincinnati.
Oh, because it was based on that one.
Yeah. So it's WKRP. Lonnie Anderson. Thank you, Lonnie Anderson. It came back to me. Yes. I enjoyed them. I enjoyed the guy that they try to sell the nightclub to. Did you touch my ass? Hey Dewey, did you touch my ass? I really got good jokes out of them. You looking at my ass? So I really enjoyed the cast surrounding them, and some of the best parts are actually them compared to the 2, Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan.
I think that was done on purpose.
Yeah. So,
where they stayed the same and the comedy came from the people around them.
And it's like you said, it's one note. They themselves are one note and they don't change, but everything else around them has the story, the plot, the changing, the growth.
And I can see that was actually the plan, and they thought that would be funny.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that.
Yeah. So I will, because I've enjoyed that, so I will at least put it at the C category for that factor. If I was to base it on just them, it would be in the D.
Yeah, I was just looking at how much it made at the box office. It did about 30 million.
Wow.
So I'm sure it made a bunch of money on video as well.
Oh, that's actually really good.
I remember it did pretty well. It was one of the better of the few. Besides Superstar, that one did well in the Wayne's World films.
Wow.
Yeah. Which movie hit 30 million again? Sorry.
Night at the Roxbury.
Night at the Roxbury. Oh, okay, okay.
So back in '98, that wasn't anything to sneeze at for a comedy.
No.
So what did you think of it, Nick?
Night at the Roxbury. It had a very memorable trailer and commercial because of a song, and that I think was the most memorable part about the movie. Yes, anyone about that movie, that's what they remember. The movie itself, no one remembers it. To me, it was a very bland movie. I thought there was potential in the idea, but they did not stick the landing whatsoever. So I was a man who was wanting to put in the B, but sometimes it's just got to go in the D.
You were going to put it in the B? Did you say D as well, Greg?
I said C because I did
Oh, you
like
said
the
C.
cast surrounding him.
Okay.
Plus, it's got Stifler's mom. So,
All right.
yeah.
Brian, how about you?
I thought again, like it's been mentioned already, that's a very one-note movie. I wasn't overly familiar with those characters anyway, so I didn't even have that kind of, well, hey, I know those guys, so I'm going to watch this movie. When I watched it, I thought it was pretty. It's they took one joke and stretched it so thin. It was like it's thinner than my bank balance has been stretched. Honestly, it's like it's stretched to the limit.
Well, I think isn't one of the best jokes in the movie, like when they're doing the head thing in the car and the one breaks the car window.
That's
like
the only bit I remember.
Laughing at one of the jokes. Yeah,
it's the only bit I remembered. I really thought it was quite boring in the end. It wasn't that funny, so I can only give it a D.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, and as Corley and Rogue does point out, that was just the U.S. Yeah, that wasn't. They didn't really do the worldwide the same back then. That was prior to the 2000s. So we got a D, a C. Okay, so I think it's going.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you could put it there, I wouldn't. It does bog down about halfway through the film.
Yeah, it's just
separate, and it's just kind of like. But
it's just unfortunate that it turned out not as enjoyable as it did, because I remember, I think it was 11 when it hit theaters, and I remember like actually kind of being intrigued by the trailer, knowing of course the SNL skit before it, and think, oh, that could be fun, memorable commercial. And I remember kids my age would kind of impersonate that commercial. It was kind of like, I remember the hype around Wild Wild West, and then the result came out, and you're like, oh no. Lucky it wasn't that disastrous like Wild Wild West, but you get the point. There was interest, and there's the curiosity that got tickled, and then all of a sudden, all tension blew out the window.
Yeah, it prematurely ejaculated. And that's what I said, Doc Fortune. No movie was ever going to beat that. If you guys haven't seen the time Jim Carrey was on SNL, that was the best time they ever did the Roxbury.
I saw that one.
That was the funniest one ever. Hands.
No. They already doing it, but Jim really can put the head tilt in, and
And by
really
the end of the
went for
skit, it was just out there. Like it was the funniest one they ever. Like that whole episode was epic. It was probably one of the most epic fucking SNLs ever. That Jim Carrey episode was. But anyhow, let's move on. We got Wayne's World 2, Wayne Stock. So this movie came out a year after the first film, or was it 2 years after the first film? I think it was 2. Was it a year or 2 years? Year. I don't remember. I think it was a year after. It came out in 93, right? Let me look.
Yeah, I think
yes, it was a year because it came out the same time as Jurassic Park. I remember now because at the box office it got beat the hell out of by Jurassic Park. And the movie has a very thin plot compared to the first film. Wayne is getting married, and Garth is dating, and they're putting on a concert. That's the plot.
And he got his
a lot of people's girlfriends are in there.
A lot of people's girlfriends. It isn't bad though. I like it. It's funny. It's got some really great lines. Chris Farley fucking steals the show. Steals the show as the roadie guy. He's like, "What are you doing here? You're worthless. You have no reason to be here. I've got no place else to go." The whole Richard Gere thing. Like, just it's got its moments. The half-naked Indian making fun of the Doors. See, that joke was like maybe 3 years too late, but it still fucking worked. And it's just like, I don't know. It was just a weird movie. It wasn't bad. I didn't hate it. There's some great moments. Like, if anything, Dana Carvey steals this one. Like the Garth bits with Kim Basinger are hands down some of the funniest shit. Like, she's like, "Do you like to have dinner sometime?" "I like to have dinner every night." "Take me, Garth, where? It's cold out and you don't have a jacket."
You forgot when he got his pubes too. You didn't tell him about the pubes, did you?
Yeah. I seen him with the interview with that. There was something that was cut out of that. He got 2 pubes. He goes, "I got one pube that goes this way and I got another that goes like this." They got cut out of the movie. It was they showed it early on in one of the earlier things when he was interviewing him about part 2. I just remembered that, and I'm like, why didn't that make it into the movie? That was hilarious because every time they talk about it was like this ongoing bit about the pubes, and he's like, yeah, he's got 2. Anyway.
Yeah, and
so I'd give it like a B. I definitely would give it a B. Paul, what do you think of Wayne's World 2?
I liked it. I mean, it was a what do you call it? Cameo fest.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was just
Christopher Walken's good in it too.
Yeah, but I'm saying this is a good actor, and the 2 characters, Wayne and Garth, are just one cameo after another. I enjoyed it. It's to me, they weren't. I have a very different view of movies, very much along the lines of bands I like. That Roxy Music comes out with a so-so album. I'm not gonna crap on them because it's one of my favorite bands, and it's just the thing that they did at that time. They did their best, and it just didn't work for whatever reason. But it doesn't mean it's bad. I'll listen to it a little bit less, but I'm not insulted by their effort. And in this particular case, there wasn't a lack of effort. It wasn't. They tried different things. It didn't. They didn't have a highlight like the Queen song. And what's his name is the bad guy. I thought was a better bad guy in the first movie.
Christopher Walken, yeah.
No, not
the first movie.
Oh, you mean Rob Lowe was a
Rob
bad
Lowe.
guy.
Rob Lowe was.
I agree with you as far as his motivations. Yes.
Yeah. So no, I would definitely give it a B. I mean, it was an honest, funny movie. I laughed.
Yeah. Well, they tried to do the Bohemian Rhapsody thing with believe it or not, it was I Love Rock and Roll. But it just didn't catch on.
No. That's what my point is. They didn't have that fight. They didn't have that genie in a bottle moment. But
yeah,
it was funny.
All right, Greg.
Yeah, I'd give it a B. I liked it. I thought it was funny. I enjoyed the YMCA when they all dressed.
Well, that was the other bit that they tried to do that was like the Bohemian Rhapsody thing.
Yeah, they were
YMCA.
just like. You see them like they're all dressed up and they're like monitoring
retreat. Yeah, we've been spotted.
And you realize, oh no, they're dressed up like the Village People inside of a gay bar. So that was hilarious. I like that. I like the Wayne versus Tia Carrere's father and how they do the dub. Yeah. I do like that. It's fun. Yeah, it made me laugh. It does what this movie is supposed to do. And yeah, the cameos are great in it. You got Aerosmith and all them showing up at the end. I like that. I'll give it a B. It's a solid B.
All right, Nick.
Oh boy, I want to give it an A. The only problem is if it came out on its own, I would give it an A. But it's following up Wayne's World, which for me is one of my all-time favorite. So on its own merits, it is an A movie, but when you put it right up next to it, it's like a B.
Yeah, you can't. You can't. If you're pairing them up, you can't give it an A.
It's impossible. Exactly. But the only thing that this movie did better than the first one, and I'm gonna say better, was name drop Megadeth. Got any Megadeth? As a Megadeth fan. Hearing that,
the first one had Alice Cooper. I'm sorry that
was a great scene with Alice Cooper.
That was a great scene.
Had a conversation
and you got Aerosmith, but they're just not the same. Yeah,
they're not the same.
The Alice Cooper scene was so boss, dude. Yeah.
Oh, dude, that scene was next.
It was Milwaukee.
So good. And then he played "Feed My Frankenstein" too. Oh, so good. No,
but no, you're right. I mean, this did have some fun bits, but just not quite as good as the first one.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have when you're trying to compare yourself to lightning in a bottle.
And I got a feeling this is when Myers and Carvey were kind of getting on the outs or whatever.
Yes,
were with the first film,
you are
actually.
Correct, Paul, on that. They had issues on one end.
We'll talk about that a little more.
Yeah.
when we
And
get
like
to the first film. But yeah.
person in the chat mentioned, Charlton Heston is great in the movie.
Yeah.
Well,
Can we get an actual actor in here? I know this is a small
we can do
role,
better
but
than this.
I think we could do better than this.
Yeah.
I don't remember his part. What was
he was the gas station attendant who tells him how to get to the
That's
church.
a name I haven't heard for years. And he goes off on this.
Wow, I forgot.
Yeah, it was during the Mrs. Robinson scene. He's like, and the best bit of that is like I couldn't believe they did this in the theater because I was watching I freaked out in the theater. This is me freaking out during Chicken Jockey. This is the equivalent. When he gets pulled over in that scene, and I'm like, you know what'd be hilarious if that's Robert Patrick, and he's like, "Have you seen this boy?"
Yep.
And it fucking was.
It's in there.
And I know. I was like freaked out. I'm like, no way, it is totally. I'm like, I had my Chicken Jockey moment. I'm like, they totally did it. I was waiting for it. It's like, yes. So yes, this one has some great bits in it. It again, like you guys said, I agree. It's
a cameo fest.
It's a cameo fest. Well, I have to agree with just about everything everyone said. Nick said if you're ranking it against the first one, it's not quite as good, but it's still a very funny movie in its own right. It's got a lot of great cute in-jokes and cameos and a lot of great references. I mean, Nick even mentioned the Megadeth. It's packed full of stuff like that, which guys like me absolutely love that kind of thing. Always looking for that stuff. So, but it's very funny. It's got a lot of heart in it. So it's a B for me.
At the end was really cool. It was nice to actually see them have their festival. It was cool to see that. And it takes place in my home state too. Technically, I'm about an hour away from Aurora, which is funny because in these movies they film it anywhere but Aurora.
Except for the first film, they did shoot a little bit on the strip there, didn't they? For the Bohemian Rhapsody scene, didn't they?
No, that was in Berwyn because I lived by that. Where
okay.
Remember when
I remember you were talking about
that
it.
Tower of Cars.
Yeah.
I lived by that when I was a kid because I remember as a kid, like, wow, that looks like that Tower of Cars in Wayne's World. And then my cousin was like, that's because that is the Tower of Cars. I'm like, what? And then sure enough, it was.
I was gonna say that's the only part that I know is that were shot in Illinois. Otherwise, I think the rest of the movie was shot in Canada.
It's still a pretty good movie in its own
was
right.
actually shot in Chicago. A lot of it in Berwyn. I think some of it was even in.
I think they shot a little in Milwaukee, but
yeah, there's some in Milwaukee too. Yeah, a lot of it was in Wisconsin, but it was just so odd that it's like, Berwyn is not hard to get to Aurora. Just go there. But
maybe just wasn't as visually,
Well, listen, as a Canadian, this is offensive to me because that was all they had to do. All these American locations because it was financed by Merkin dollars. But this is all about his life growing up in Scarborough, and I lived a chunk of my life in Scarborough, Ontario. Scarborough, it's a suburb of Toronto. So to me, it's heresy. All these American cities are subbing for Scarborough for a change.
Well, the thing that I think that Mike Myers tapped into, though, and I know you're 100% right, Paul, is that was kind of like that kind of 90s rock guy.
This is very
America yet.
But this is right out of Scarborough too. I mean, let me tell you.
And I was telling you,
so every Friday we would get into Chris's van, which had no seats and just a bunch of fold up. It was a white Econoline, or the Chevy version of the Econoline. And with the engine that's in between the driver and the passenger, completely empty metal van with fold up outdoor seats that Chris would drive like a mad fool and would fold up on us, and we'd almost nearly cut off our fingers as the aluminum would collapse and the chairs would fold. And Scarborough Fair, yes. And every Friday night we would get stoned and go to McDonald's, and all we could afford was the apple or cherry pie.
But what I was saying is,
we would go away and count the number of apple pieces or cherry pieces in them, and they're usually zero. It would be just like goop, nothing. And we'd go back after eating half of it and then show the girl behind the counter, look, there was no cherry pieces in here. We want the, but I remember one Friday night before we went on our sojourn, that everybody was in my car, my 1965 Chevy Impala SS. And I'm going, you know what? We're smoking too much dope. Like this is crazy. Like, Friday's coming up, and we just got to stop. Let's cut off the whole week. We're not going to smoke at all during the whole week, because then when we do smoke, we're going to actually get a buzz off it, because we're not getting a buzz off of this at all, smoking it every single day. So we went, okay, let's do it. What's today? Thursday. So
you made it a whole day.
Too late to stop now.
Yeah, we basically had no time left to recover from our,
That is such
I
a
remember
stoner story.
Yeah, we were howling with laughter in the car. Yeah, we got to stop. Can't do it. Like let's stop now. Go cold turkey, and then when Friday comes, then we can smoke, and then go up to McDonald's. We'll have a great time. What's today? Thursday.
Well, it's funny because you mentioned the drug, because like Wayne and Garth are not even remotely drug or anything.
No,
like,
no. But they're of a type. Like
they're definitely. And what I was saying is like, okay, the donut thing, that's definitely Canadian.
Yeah,
it's blue collar. They're blue collar suburban rock guys.
Right, because I was going to say
which is a Canadian thing too. Yeah.
Yeah, what he tapped into was there was this era, and Nick will know what I'm talking about, where guys went from the hairband era to the grunge era. Mike tapped into that midpoint where hairbands were dying off, grunge hadn't quite come in yet, but it was these guys who were these straight-edged rocker guys.
Yeah.
That he just tapped into, that was the kind of kids that were in America at the time. Like, I'm sure that was, like you said, your experience growing up just like his, because that's what you guys did. And then that sounds a lot like Wisconsin, because there's nothing to fucking do. So all you do is you get together with all your friends and you travel, you go find a fucking concert, you get high, and you come back home.
That's it.
That's all there is to do.
The one thing that was very atypical in many ways compared to a lot of American cities, Toronto was a huge album city, not a single city. So things like Electric Light Orchestra, Straubs, Pink Floyd, all hit in Toronto before they hit in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, I guess metalheads would be the term for it, basically.
Yeah, and prog rock, metalheads, it's kind of a combo up here.
It is a bit of an amalgamation, because there's like rock bands that they like, then there's the glam stuff, and then there's the metal stuff too. Like obviously Alice Cooper, that was when he was doing the glam stuff during the trash era. But then they would name drop bands like Megadeth. I think you saw an Iron Maiden poster, as well. So I saw
Alice Cooper's very first show.
Oh, did you?
Very first live show.
Holy crud. That had to have been wild. That's when it was Alice Cooper, the band, and not Alice Cooper, a solo project. Too.
Right. And it was produced by Frank Zappa. The album was Pretty's for You.
Yes.
And they were dreadful. The only thing that was memorable was that this was at the turn when glam was coming from the UK with Roxy Music, and Alice Cooper was the first American band to adopt glam. The British glam, and they were wearing again, this was a concert that had Steppenwolf as the feature, and it's a very jeansy kind of hippie thing. But here were
when they're more traditional hard rock, like $1 Billion Babies and Welcome.
This is way before that.
Before.
It was weird. But Pretty for You is a terrible album. Don't buy it.
But Wayne and Garth are also not just straight edge, but they're like nerds, right? Like, because that's what I love about it, is they're having these great conversations all the fucking time. Like, the Dick Sargent, Sergeant York conversation, or the, did you ever find fucking Bugs Bunny attractive?
I can see, as somebody who did grow up in like a suburban area around that time, yes, I can relate to that. Yes, I was sort of in that period myself. So
nerds. They were ultimately nerds, very much like in their own way, the Ghostbusters nerds. I mean, this is all come from the same. So let me just finish my Alice Cooper story. So they opened the concert, and they were wearing multicolored, like Alice Cooper, I think, had a pink lame pants, like sparkly, super sparkly, and then the other guys had like a blue and a white and everything else. And like that just energized the entire field, because it was a multi-concert outdoor thing. And everyone, oh my God, look at those people. They're crazy. Oh, just from wearing that clothing. Like no one had seen anything like that. And their big shtick was Alice Cooper was take a fire extinguisher, masturbate it onto the front of the row. that was and everyone's like going, did you see him? Alice Cooper, even the lead singer, masturbated in an extinguisher. And
I'd hate to think what they would do if they couldn't find a fire extinguisher one night.
Well, you just gotta make do.
Oh damn!
You gotta make do, and then turn on the ultraviolet light. Anyway, so I just thought I'd tell you. We got to see the very first
Alice Cooper story. Now I expect what I expected today.
Yep. Oh, there they go.
I'm pretty sure Paul's one of these guys.
Yeah.
I think that's him there on the left.
Is that him on the left?
With the heavy transition.
Alice Cooper to YouTube. Wow, what a transition.
Even though he's not even in this one, he's in the first one. But
yeah, so they tried that. Everyone tries something, right?
So yeah, I think we've decided that's definitely going to be a solid B.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So moving on, this movie probably should have been the first, if not one of the first, SNL movies, but it for some reason took forever to get made. And I don't know if anybody knows this or not, but it's out there. You can find it. Paul might actually be aware of this. There was a Coneheads animated pilot for a TV show.
I didn't know that.
And a lot of the same plot is in this movie. So this is clearly a story that Dan Aykroyd had in his mind for a long time. And I actually love this movie. It is, I feel like it was a little too late, way past its due date, but it adheres to exactly what the Coneheads were, and that's all because of Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd knew these characters in and out. You could tell he made these guys up in his head, and he had every little aspect of him and Jane Curtin clearly had this thing dicked. And yeah, Paul, I don't know how you feel about the movie or not, but I love it. I know some people don't.
It was okay. I wouldn't. I'd put it like a high C, low B. It didn't quite work, but I mean, you can't disavow the attempt at doing something totally weird. So
yeah, that's fair.
I remember. I mean, it was. Again, what's funny is the story of their daughter not being able to fit in.
They're from France.
And
well, the funniest thing in the whole movie is nobody ever really says anything about their cone. Right? Like it's like even got Jason Alexander. He's like, I had a balding problem once. Yeah, shit like that, and nobody ever actually addresses the fact that they have.
Well, that's the joke.
Foot tall. Yeah, France. Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I can't remember the end of it, but I remember it was okay.
It works out at the end. They end up going back home because they get called back, and then
to Remula.
Yeah, to Remulac or whatever it's called, and then they I can't remember how they convinced them that they get to go home because it's something they lie to the leaders to get to go back home or back to Earth, and they just go back to Earth is what happens at the end, but. Because the whole thing was they were there to be reconnaissance or whatever to take over Earth or whatever.
To take over Earth, yes.
Yeah, I think he convinces them that it's just like worthless or whatever. Something like I can't remember what it was, but it's been.
It was sweet. It was a sweet.
It was a cute little movie. Yeah. So what do you say, Greg?
Next.
I will give it a B with you, Tom. I enjoy this movie. I thought it was funny, and this does have like. It's kind of like the new meets the old because you do have Chris Farley, you do have David Spade, you do have some of the newer cast
Adam Sandler's one scene is great too.
In it, along with Dan Aykroyd and her Jane Curtin and some of the older ones and stuff. So it like kind of blends the two eras a little bit, and I do think it's funny. I have a genuine laugh when I watch the movie. Especially the fireworks scene. When he lets up the fireworks, that's it, Conehead. That's all you got.
Kaboom, yeah.
And everybody's sunburnt and stuff. So yeah, I give it a B. I like it. I think it's a funny movie. I enjoy it.
Sometimes I feel I've got to run away.
I'll have to watch it now. I feel like I gotta watch it again.
I'm surprised you haven't seen it, Paul. That movie seems like
no, it means again. Said again.
Seen it.
I've seen it. I haven't seen it twice though.
He hasn't seen it probably since it came out. Yeah,
not since it came out.
What's funny is if you watch that animated pilot and how much it's almost like word for word, like the first half of the movie. Almost, it's funny. But anyhow, Nick, what did you think about it?
Two things. One, I'm gonna give this movie a B. I haven't seen it in a long time. But I remember really liking it. I think I saw it as a kid and really liking it. And yes, you got Superstar. I was gonna say. Second thing, Superstar got an F. Thank fuck.
It did.
So.
It's a great Carpenter song, a bad movie.
Conehead's right in the B.
Okay, I'll give it a B.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, like Paul, I would have been tempted to be sort of B minus C plus if we had such a rating. It's actually quite a fun movie. It's quite silly, charming, very charming performances. Mm-hmm. I like Paul. I've only ever seen it once, so I need to watch it again now. But I think, given the performances were the two leads particularly very charming,
and
charming.
And not played for laughs. They was in that traditional Dan Aykroyd thing. It's serious.
It's got a lot of charm and likability. So if I was forced to push it into one or the other, I'd say B, because it was pretty good, pretty damn good.
Right. I think that makes that choice. All right, now here's one I have never, ever seen, and probably never will. MacGruber.
Did not see it.
Didn't see it.
Greg?
Consider your guys lucky, because this movie sucks. I don't know how people feel about the character. I never liked the character of MacGruber. I did not like the movie at all. It's really just stupid. Val Kilmer's great in it. I'll give it that much. Val Kilmer's great.
It's got some fun cameos I've heard.
Yeah,
that's
it's got a lot of WWE wrestlers in it. Like there's one whole scene where they gather up like almost the entire when was this, like early 2000s or something?
Oh, it's Grand Admiral Adams.
Oh, is it co-production? Okay. Yeah, like they gather up like 10 wrestlers and then they blow them all up in a car. And that's it. And it's like, oh, that's his team. He's putting together his team and then they all die before the mission even begins. And it's really dumb.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't sell you on this movie.
Well, we didn't
really
even really set it up. I mean, we didn't really do a good job setting up the Coneheads either. I apologize, guys, but so what MacGruber is basically a parody or satire of MacGyver, like Die Hard type characters.
Oh no, I don't do that.
Yeah, and he's just very full of himself, and he makes shit worse. Usually, is kind of the joke. It's kind of a basic SNL skit I could see working out just fine, but I don't know about for a movie. And I see the audience is pretty much like, I don't know, it's all over the place. I know this has a cult following.
Mm-hmm.
What? So you say an F then, Greg?
Yeah, I would give it. Me personally, I would give this one an F. I did not enjoy this movie at all. I don't think I barely laughed in it, and it's kind of too excessive. It's that type of humor where it's like, okay, we have Ryan Phillippe. Is that his Phillippe? And we have him.
That's who the co-star.
We're going to have him stick a piece of celery up his ass. He's going to run across the screen, and we're going to fire guns, and it just like keep escalating until somebody tries to get a laugh, and you just don't laugh.
Repetitive.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So
there's a repetitive element to that. They kept repeating the same gag, basically.
Exactly, and it's just like, how far can we go before nobody even laughs?
So have you seen it then, Nick?
Oh.
I'm kind of surprised considering, but all right.
I thought Nick was MacGruber.
I thought so too. That's what I was gonna say. Brian, it sounds like you've seen it though.
I did see it once. I felt it was a bit of another puzzler, and one or two of these movies have been the same. Like it seemed a little bit after the fact, like dated. Like you're satirizing something that's already been and gone quite a while ago. I think. Seem to recall this was at 2010.
Had probably been off the air for
off the air for a while.
I
think so. So it seemed a little bit pointless in that respect. I just found the thing just there's a couple of good things in it, but it's quite repetitive and like it didn't really grab me. I don't think it's an F though. I think it's a D. I don't think it's as bad as it's Pat.
All right, I think we're gonna have to leave this one up to the chat.
Yeah, maybe. I just didn't find it funny. I just thought this is it's the same thing again and again, a bit over the top.
Yeah, To me, I mean, to other people it may be a D. I get that, but to me it was an F because I don't even think I really ever laughed. And yeah, Action Com, I know what the upper decker is. That's where he takes a crap in the back of the toilet on the upper decker. So, yeah,
it's better than It's Pat.
Grand Admiral Adams says it's better than It's Pat, but that's not saying much. Did you know that It's Pat is one of those few? I forgot to bring this up. It's one of those few movies on Rotten Tomatoes that has a 0.
Seriously?
Can they get a minus? Can they get a negative?
They can't. Well, it doesn't go any lower than that. So, all right, we'll leave that one up to the chat. Now we're going to get into the first SNL film.
Well,
and this movie is a tour de force. The Blues Brothers, a movie about two brothers who sing the blues, and they set out to save their orphanage, church, home, whatever you want to call it, from back taxes. With a cast of thousands, in the everyone from John Candy to James Brown. I mean, gosh, Aretha Franklin, all sorts of greats. I mean, what can you say about this movie that hasn't been said already?
Yeah,
Blues Brothers is an A+ all the way. Paul, take it away.
Yeah, there's it's just so filled with life and the love of music. Again, this is another Dan Aykroyd thing. This all comes from the Toronto music scene where we had Downchild Blues Band. We had a very different blues scene in Toronto compared to where it started in the United States. But I mean, we were, when Muddy Waters, wasn't selling out any place in the United States, it would be a complete sellout here in Toronto. Blues was huge here. I'm trying to think of the lead guitarist.
Buddy Guy.
Buddy Guy, thank you. How'd you know?
I don't know why I was reading your mind, but I was.
Yeah, you were. So Buddy Guy was huge in
Canadian.
Toronto. Where every time he would come, up here, he would say, I get nobody coming to my shows in the United States, but if we're in Toronto, it would be jammed. And then he'd spend most of his time complaining about how Hendrix stole all his stuff.
He's still doing that to this day. He still does that to this
complaining?
Day. About Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
He does their stuff and then he goes, look, I did it first.
Yeah, that's right. He just imitates them. Yeah. So it has so much heart and soul. Sorry to use that term, and just the love of the genre. I think they also supercharged the blues business, and didn't they? And then that movie kind of re-elevate the blues.
It did, and they actually have the biggest selling blues album, I think, still to this day in America.
Right, and they've got Canadian bands on there. They've got Canadian blues bands on there.
Well, and of course, like you got a lot of the OG members of the Saturday Night Live band.
Yeah,
and Paul Schaefer sadly was unable to be in the first film.
In the second,
But I mean, it was just a labor of love on everybody's behalf, it felt like. And you're right, like it was a bit of a different blues scene, obviously, and it did bring a different kind of blues flavor to America. And even Dan explains it himself, it's a mix of everything from traditional blues to rhythm and blues.
Well, it's R&B. There's a lot of R&B.
Yeah, R&B, like I said, Motown R&B, and also like Southern country rock and all that kind of stuff mixed in, all that kind of in a big, whirlpool. And I mean, even the country western joke is one of the best bits of the movie. We got both kinds of music here, country and western. And of course, they only know Rawhide and Stand By Your Man. I mean, it's just a great fucking movie.
It is.
But anyway, so how would you rate it, Paul? I don't know if you gave it a direct rating. Yeah.
I got an A.
A, okay. Greg, what did you think of the film?
Oh, hey, absolutely. This is an incredible movie. Like you all said, the soundtrack is absolutely amazing. This is one of those movies where you can listen to the soundtrack and watch the movie like any day of the week. Period. It's incredible. Just like the blues artist is on this. And I don't know if maybe Paul or you guys will know better, but didn't Dan Aykroyd get John Belushi hooked on blues?
What kind of music do you usually have here?
Oh, yes, we got both kinds. We got country and western.
Sorry, I didn't know it was going to start playing at the same time.
I had to share it with as you mentioned it.
But you were saying, yes, he did turn James Belushi, who'd really only kind of knew like the rock elements and the Motown elements. Yeah.
He was like taking him to blues bars in Chicago and New York and stuff like that, and he really got him hooked on it. And that's where they came up with the idea for the Blues Brothers, I think, if I remember. But this movie is absolutely incredible. It's like you said, it's just, I love the car chases. I love the car scenes. We're on a mission from God. I love it. I love when they're at James Brown's church.
Yeah.
And they just start to dancing, and then Dan Aykroyd does his running up and down and all that. Just like, and John Belushi's doing the backflips. Oh, incredible!
Jesus
movie.
H tap dancing Christ! I have seen the light.
Exactly.
I mean, John Belushi is a tour fucking de force in this.
Oh
movie.
man!
My own brother picks me up from jail in a cop car. I traded it for a microphone. You traded it for a microphone. All right, I can see that.
Cop shots.
It's got a cop engine in it. That means it can
cop shocks, cop brake, cop engine.
Yeah.
Makes a cigarette later.
Yeah. Oh, like the scene with Carrie Fisher too, when they're down in the sewer.
Yes.
And he takes off his sunglasses finally, and you see his eyes. She just like melts away, and then they.
I got a flat tire.
But then I have to go sit down and sign my name on the check. I like to sign it on the dashboard. So you just wait right here while I go over there, and he has to have the car running. It's just like you can't beat this movie. You can have pizza, a beer, whatever, man. It's good. It's a good movie.
Have we done Toxic Tuesday Blues Brothers
Not
yet, Nick?
Yet. Oh,
good God, Gertie, how have we not?
Hey.
This is one of the most quotable SNL films ever.
Yes, it is. One of the most quotable movies, period. Seriously. This movie is basically
a half tank of gas, a pack full of cigarettes, and it's 365 miles to Chicago. Hit it.
It's basically a cultural event. One of my local towns by me, they did a Blues Brothers tribute community event in the town to celebrate this movie, and they they redesigned parts of the town around this movie, like the vehicles. They made the vehicle. They did a lot of that stuff around the Blues Brothers. It was so cool. And I had a good time. They even had a band performing, dress up, paying tribute to the Blues Brothers, playing all the songs that they did in the movie. Such a fun time. And once again, super quotable, super feel good movie too. You feel good when you watch this. You're like, this had to be an exciting time.
Orange whip, 3 orange whips.
Well, it's essentially a road movie.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
And a musical and a comedy.
Yeah.
And at its heart, it's definitely a road.
It's an A+
comedy,
movie. Like you could, I know people who had no idea this is based off SNL. They just thought it was like its own thing. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's based off SNL. Like,
well, it's because the characters never actually had skits. Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
It's funny Nick should mention that because 1980, I had never seen the SNL Blues Brothers appearance or performance or whatever it was. If it was we didn't have SNL on in the UK. We saw little tiny clips of stuff, but I was so looking forward to seeing this because I'd seen Animal House and I'd seen some other stuff. It was the movies that got me into these guys, not the TV show, because it wasn't until the era of VHS that I actually saw all those old SNLs. So I got into these guys because of the movies, not because of the TV show.
I think that might have been because and you guys can correct me, the only time I really saw the Blues Brothers on SNL was they would be a musical guest.
That's what I was saying. They never actually had a skit.
The musical segments are always deleted because they can't get the copyright for them. So when you see the SNL shows, they're packaged down to 1 hour without the musical guest. You'll never see the musical guests on the reruns.
Yeah. I was so stoked for this movie, and I was not disappointed.
Yeah, in fact, the first time they appeared, because Lorne Michaels and some of the upper people didn't get what Dan and John were doing, they made him dress in the bee costumes, and John got fucking pissed about it, and he almost refused to go on. And that's why the first time they were presented were the Blues Bees Brothers or whatever the fuck they were. The first, very, very, very first showing they ever did. And then they went out and did a whole concert thing, got the #1 fucking blues album in America with Soul Man. Thank you, Pete Dencat. And when they did that, that's when Lorne couldn't not have them on as the Blues. Then they officially came on as the Blues Brothers themselves as the musical guest on one of the shows. And I think they appeared, 2 or 3 times other than that. But they never actually had a skit. They were only, just the King Bee speech. The King Bee sketch was the first one that was the closest thing to a sketch they ever had. Yeah.
Don't stop talking because Paul might leave if you stop talking. So keep talking.
But I think we've all agreed that this is definitely an A tier.
I just want to ask Paul something before you go. I think the same might apply to SCTV in that the musical guests, it's harder to find those clips of the musical guests they had on the show. Because they had a lot, and I think some of them I've never seen. I've seen most of the shows, but not the musical guests. They're just not out there. Yeah.
And there's a different copyright for playing something live than although SCTV would be a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, look at WKRP. They can't show WKRP, and they can't show ALF in the United States, but they can ALF ALF in the Scandinavian countries because all the music in ALF they're allowed to play because the copyright is different in Scandinavia, which is why Scandinavia is crazy over ALF.
They're just crazy then.
They're just crazy.
Said Mike there.
Yeah, because that you're not wrong. There's a lot of weird musical right bits, and I wouldn't be surprised. But I know you have to leave us, Paul.
But I'll quickly grade the other two.
Yes.
What's the
Blues Brothers 2000 and Wayne's World 1?
Oh, Blues Brothers 2000 was the sequel.
Yes.
Damn, I can't remember it. I saw it, and I have no memory of it.
You're lucky.
That should tell you everything. It's not good.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember it at all. And of course, Wayne's World is absolutely fantastic.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Paul.
No
it was awesome to have you here. Plug your wares and tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, you can either see me on Call Me Chatto, or you can see me on Appalling News, APAULING. Oh, I just got the joke.
So impulsive of you.
That is one handsome looking gay guy right there.
It is.
Anyways, that's
yeah. And he also pops in on the morning show as well.
Yeah, I'll be seeing you tomorrow.
Awesome sauce. Can't wait to see you then.
Cheers, Paul.
Listen,
thanks so
pleasure.
much. See
you, Paul.
Pleasure seeing you guys. Thanks for having me, and we'll talk to you later. Good luck with the rest of the show.
Take care. Thanks for the Alice Cooper story.
Joe.
Oh, yeah, what a hoser. What a hoser.
Let's grab these super chats here. We've got Action Com who says, I want to see everyone on the panel do a Night at the Roxbury head swing in unison. All right, 1, 2, 3.
Well, I've got a stiff neck. I'm not sure I can do that.
You got a medical reason not to, Brian. But you did it like an old man.
I just threw my back out. I'm old.
Yeah, so thank you for that action.
Should we call Life Alert?
I can't
call
get
Death
up.
Alert at this point.
6 sends in 10 smackaroos to say Mango. Mango almost got a movie, but as we were talking about earlier, I really think that Corky Romano movie killed Chris Kattan's entire career. It did not help at all. But I believe we were going to get a Mango movie at some point. We almost got a Sprockets movie too. That was in development hell
that
for
would have been good.
5 fucking years.
Would you like to pet my monkey?
The Sprockets movie is what killed Wayne's World 3. There's a whole fucking thing. Yeah, anyway. Jason Webster sends in 5 Australians, says, imagine the numerous iconic characters we would have gotten from John Belushi. Oh man, you're telling me if it wasn't for the tragic passing, he was a legitimate comedic genius. Oh, it's unimaginable. I mean, nobody had the charisma, the energy, and I don't mean the cocaine energy. I'm just talking about the presence, the physical energy he had around, because as soon as he would come on screen, you would just go, he was the focal point of everything.
I just wouldn't mind saying another word about the Blues Brothers because I didn't say too much.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about Blues Brothers too. Now,
there's nothing about the Blues Brothers that isn't perfect, in my opinion, and even right down to every actor and actress in it is superb. And you've got all these great roles. You mentioned John Candy. You've got Charles Napier, Henry Gibson. They're all perfect. All those little bits are perfect. Everything they do is fantastic. It's almost a perfect movie for me.
Yeah. And it's almost like a blend because there's some SCTV and or not, you know, because you got
Yeah,
the SCTV.
all the John Candies are,
yeah, with also some of the Groundling people with like Paul Rubens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you got John Landis, who came from the Kentucky Fried Movie.
Yeah.
And so all those things just went. And
So
it is.
Frank
It's just
Oz, yeah.
and Frank. Well, the Frank Oz thing. See, that's a Landis thing. See, Frank
He's
and
in all
him,
Landis,
and what they'll do is they'll put their friends in movies, the directors. Now watch Beverly Hills Cop 3. There's a bunch of director cameos. In fact, I think that has the most because they kept doing this thing to try and up each other. Like they get Spielberg and everybody in there and even composers and stuff. Because watching the Beverly Hills Cop 3, he's got George Lucas. And then the bar scene alone, you've got a bunch of directors, including Jerry Goldsmith at the bar. And the Uncle Dave scene where they're like, Uncle Dave, somebody shot Uncle Dave? Like, yeah. It's just a bunch of directors.
Well, we did Spies Like Us on the show, my show recently, and there's about 15 director cameos in that. Terry Gilliam, Sam Raimi, and they're all in there.
Yeah, I can't remember. He had a couple of the guys that they had this thing, this ongoing thing, and Landis beat them all. He got them every time he would beat them. So yeah, that kind of leads into part 2, which he continued that tradition. And my God, even though the few things they got right with part 2, where do we begin on this? I was so hyped for this fucking movie. You have to remember to lead up to this movie, they had the Blues Brothers live on the Super Bowl in halftime in a Packer game. Right? So like this is like prime, like we were primed for this movie. My buddy and I were just so ready for this fucking movie. And we went to see it. We were the only two sad motherfuckers in the theater. And then we understood why, because we were about halfway through it. We're just like, what the fuck were they thinking? This is horrible. Oh my God. And I recommend checking out Hats Off Entertainment. They did a video about this movie and they cover just about everything that went wrong with it. Because we almost got a good Blues Brothers 2 that would have had James Belushi in it.
Yeah.
But the studio insisted on sticking a kid in it. They replaced James Belushi with what's his face from Terminator 2, the black guy. I forget his name. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
And which I think would have been an interesting twist to have John Belushi's brother from the first movie actually turn out to be a cop, right? Like the exact opposite of him.
Yeah.
It would have worked for this movie, especially if you take the kid out of the movie. Because that's the other thing is the kid has nothing to fucking do in the movie. He's there for no good fucking reason. And the only reason he's there is to set up this kidnapping plot.
Yeah.
So they're being chased. That's it.
It's a MacGuffin.
It's a MacGuffin. And he has no lines really that really amount to anything. And John Goodman's half wasted in the movie. And I don't mean like wasted. I mean he's just wasted. They don't really do anything.
It just seemed like much more just of a giant music performance.
It is.
Than a movie.
You got all these great performers together. If anything, it's more like a tribute to the first movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If it feels
with
like
a few
that.
extra musicians like Eric Clapton and others.
Yeah. And all these people that love the original film coming in and getting to pay homage. So, frankly, at best, I can give it
It's a disappointment. Yeah.
Great. Well, Brian, let's start with you because you're the musician guy here. Then we'll come back.
Well, the music was fantastic. I mean, there was nothing wrong with the music in it. It was extremely well done. I mean, you might as well just have had a celebrity concert in many ways and just brought every act up on stage with.
Yeah, it should just be like a live SNL event thing.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I just didn't. I mean, I didn't really want it in the first place without John Belushi.
Nobody really asked for it. You're not wrong, right?
Nobody was asking for it. So the music is fantastic. So I can't knock it for that. But really, it's pretty stale otherwise. I mean, there's no real. I don't remember the plot. That's a bad sign if you don't remember it. I don't think there was any particularly outstanding gags. I mean, you can quote the first movie endlessly. You can't quote this one. So for the music alone, though, I wouldn't make it an F. It's above that. But you know, I think it's a D.
It's an expensive movie.
I just didn't see the point. The soundtrack and the music is brilliant, so it can't get an F because of that. But yeah, it's probably only a D at best. A sad legacy, I think.
Let me put it to you this way: if this was like a straight to television or video type movie that was more of just an event thing, I would not treat it.
Yeah,
like
if it had been the Blues Brothers, the concert, which they've done stuff
Something
like that. They did do stuff like that,
the
but
tribute concert or whatever. Yeah.
But as a tribute to Belushi and as well. But it was other than the music, it was pointless. Yeah, it's dull in some ways, dull and boring.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why it happened, because at this moment we had a surge in popularity of the Blues Brothers, and their merchandise was selling well. Their video was hot. The first movie was a consistent seller, but it was just they had a resurgence at this point, and Universal tried cashing in on it, and also Dan Aykroyd had really been reestablishing the Blues Brothers because of the House of Blues. So he would show up and perform with John Goodman and James.
If it was just a music performance thing, it would be way up there. But the movie as a plotted, supposed comedy, action comedy type movie, not so good. It's probably D+, but I can't. Yeah.
Nick?
Disappointing. And I was looking forward to this too, because I always thought, okay, this is a great one done movie, but I would welcome a sequel to it because of how freaking good Blues Brothers is. And then reality happened. I was disappointed. It's not, I wouldn't call it terrible, but it's really disappointing. In some cases, it's even more disappointing like that. See, I'm not mad at you. I'm disappointed. And I definitely heard from this one. I think I'm going to go with God.
It's tough.
At its worst, it's a D. At its best, it's a C. So I could dick swing between the two.
I think in a sense, I'd rather watch it than Ladies Man, which I've never seen, of course. But
it's fine. I'd much rather watch it than Superstar. Oh man,
Nick, you made the best point. It's not like it's a bad movie like those, right? Like
it's not bad. Yeah,
it's
not funny.
It's disappointing. Like it makes you sad, right? Because it's like, you want it. You're rooting for it. You love the Blues Brothers. You love that Dan Aykroyd's back. You love getting to see the rest of the remaining people that are still alive back. But at the same time, the movie feels like what it is, and it's a funeral for John Belushi and John Candy and Cab Calloway, right? Three of the main people that aren't there that you really miss. And sometimes that works. This instance, it did not. And I think, Nick, you hit the nail on the head. And Greg, go ahead and pick up from there. Because I think, it's hard to hate it. It's really hard to hate it.
I would give it a D for disappointing. Like Nick said, because yes, Brian hit it on the mark. The music is great. It's fantastic. Great musical numbers, as always. Dan Aykroyd is back, but it's D for disappointing because when you see it and he's standing out at the prison waiting for him to be picked up by John Belushi, that's all of us because you're waiting. We're still waiting at that prison. Like Dan Aykroyd moves on and the movie continues, but we're still waiting there.
That's
good,
that's a good analogy. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're still waiting there. It's better than Pat, Superstar, MacGruber. It had potential. If they would have waited for Jim Belushi, and maybe it could have been better. Like you said, the kid plot is just the kid plot is stupid. It
brought it down to a PG for some fucking reason. Like the first movie is rated R.
Yes.
And that's another thing. Good point. Yeah. It needed to be R.
And then they try to recopy scenes from the first movie too. Like when they go back to what's his name's church, and they do the whole thing almost all over again.
It is like a greatest hits album that's just re-recorded. You're not wrong. And I think Action Com, this is kind of an analogy for the movie too. I'll never forget the theater's reaction during the Blues Brothers 2000 car crash scene. At first, the audience clapped, but then as it went on and on and on, you could feel the enthusiasm get sucked out of the room. I think that crash scene is like 4 minutes long because what John was doing was trying to beat his own record from the first movie. And that's kind of what the whole movie feels like. It's just too much of everything, right? It almost feels like everything needed to be pulled back. And to address why James, because I see a few people asking, well, why wasn't James in the movie? Well, what happened was he was supposed to be in the movie, but for some reason they got locked into some stupid release date in 98, even though the movie's called Blues Brothers 2000, and he could have held it off for a while. No. James had a fucking pilot, and it wasn't about about Jim or whatever, that sitcom either. It was another show he was going to do before that he was contractually obligated to do. He couldn't get out of it. So instead of waiting for him and shooting around him until they could get him, they just decided to fucking change the role into the black dude.
Yeah. Made him the son of the guy, the Minnie the Moocher guy.
Yeah, the Minnie the Moocher guy instead of the actual brother to John Belushi's character. Because that was what the plot was supposed to be, is that, yes, Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi are adopted brothers, right? They aren't actual blood brothers. But he finds out that John, or, his brother actually had a blood brother.
Yeah.
So he's like, wait, I have a blood brother kind of thing? Like, not a real blood, and that's what his motivation is in the film, to go meet and find this brother and recruit him for the band, right? And then the studio insisted on having a fucking kid, but then again, that's like the only way they can get the cops chasing him, I think, from my memory in the movie, because that's the only reason the cops are chasing him, is because he's kidnapped this kid for no good fucking reason.
Yeah.
He just doesn't take him back. It's like, and he doesn't even want to take him in the first place. Like, he's the most useless fucking character in the movie. His name's Buddy.
Generic.
So
name.
fucking generic in every goddamn way that you could imagine. And I'm sure the studio's like, well, it's like a family theme, so we'll have a kid, so it's like a family, and there's another generation.
Yeah, you guys were
probably thinking Blues Brothers 3, and yeah.
Remember, they were orphans in the first movie, so let's have them be taking in an orphan who this time's a kid.
No, yeah, I can't remember the name of the show. It wasn't according to Jim. It was actually a cop drama he was going to be on, but he was like contractually obligated and he couldn't get out of it. So the show never even got picked up, obviously, which even is the worst part of the whole fucking deal. Because Dan, he's talked about that. That was what really hurt him, was that the show didn't even fucking get picked up, and then this shit went through the way it did.
Naked Genius made a good point in the chat. Like, they've totally invalidated the first movie by having the orphanage closed. The whole point of the first movie was to keep it open. Everything they did was to keep it open.
And Buddy was one of the kids from the orphanage, wasn't he? Yeah, like he was like the last kid left over.
So, but that invalidates everything they did in the first movie.
Yeah.
To a point. I mean, I guess we're supposed to think that they stayed open,
for 20 years.
But anyway, we're gonna be losing Nick anyhow, so let's
That's very careless of us.
Let's do this rating here. I think we all are in kind of agreement. What we say was a D?
Oh yeah. We'll go with a D.
No, that's Wayne's World.
Oh, Wayne's
World.
What
did you do?
Oh, Wayne's World's a big A.
Well, I think we all know that's where that's probably going to go.
Yeah.
So let's let Nick talk about Wayne's World, and then he can do his exit, and then we'll all talk about Wayne's World.
Dude, one of the best movies of all time. One of my favorite movies of all time. Memorable lines, Alex. Some of my favorite characters. Once again, other great cameos. Robert Patrick for T2. Like, great scene. Of course, then there's the greatest product placement parody ever with those shoes, the Doritos, the Pepsi. It's the voice of the new generation. And of course, the memorable Queen rock out scene that took place in Berwyn. Yes, Fanguli, Berwyn. And then they paced by the four-way area in Chicago as well, even though it says Aurora. Yeah, tons of memorable anthems. Rob Lowe is funny as a villain. I love Rob Lowe. I love everything about Wayne's World. It is once again, this is one of those like cream of the crop, lightning in a bottle. I've rewatched Wayne's World, God, as long as I've existed on this planet. Like it's probably like inked in my DNA like a fucking heroin addict. Seriously. You know what? That's good. This is the drug I want, is this movie. And and of course, as Paul Chatham mentioned, the Alice Cooper scene would feed my Frankenstein performance, followed by then going back to we're not worthy.
One of these days you're gonna get these, Nick, because I did not know that I had a couple pairs of these actually in my car when I met you. When I met you, I did not know that was what was in the package. I had just picked the package up and I put it in my car, and I didn't want to open it because being in Milwaukee, I was like, I don't need a box open so people can see what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
little did I know, had I known these were in there, I would have give you a set of them.
There's
But
always
they're
gonna
Wayne's
be
World
another day.
drumsticks. Yes, they say Wayne's World
Oh.
on them, and they're from Camelot Music. They were to promote the movie.
Yeah.
So a guy sent me a
Camelot.
couple pairs of them, and I didn't know I had them that night, or I'd have gave you a set. But like, yeah.
Well, you can give them to me now then.
Well,
shit, Nick, you missed out.
we bonded over Wayne's World, so that was kind of part of the thing. And I think it was
so
just like, I
gay.
think we had talked about it like the day, like a few days before that too, which was even weirder. But like, I remember telling you that like when after I got back. But yeah, anyhow, so you'd obviously rate Wayne's World as an A, I bet, Nick.
Yeah. It's a fucking A, man. Seriously.
It's fucking A.
I'm not saying
Fucking
like
A.
it's fucking A the statement, but it's just it really is an A. Like there's no argument. It's like you either love Wayne's World, rank as an A+ at 10 out of 10, or you're simply wrong. That's it. That's the end of the argument. Like, yeah, but actually, John, deny, delete, shut up, shut the fuck up, get the fuck out of here, shut the fuck up, bitch. No, dissenting voices don't exist. Wayne's World is perfection.
Yes.
Correct.
All
What
right.
that
Well,
man
check
said.
out 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser. He does a show called Toxic Tuesday every Tuesday in Klobby's Clubhouse, I believe it's called, on Fridays, correct?
Bobby's Comic
Or
Shop.
Comic Shop.
Yeah, those are my two things, and I post videos on occasion when I can as well. So yeah, thanks for having me. This is a fun show. Shout out to Paul Chatto for hanging out with us too.
Yeah.
He blended in
Yeah, that was
nicely. He
I
felt like one of the
surprised you
gay
guys.
boys.
These guys didn't even know he was showing up.
No.
I had no idea. We should have just put on that song from Top Gun. What was it, Partying with the Boys, when he was here?
I
There's
thought
always
maybe
next
Take My
time,
Breath
Tom.
Away, but
Take my breath away. Seriously,
Don't
no.
ever
This is an
sing
awesome
that
show,
song.
guys.
Stop it. Stop it right now.
Thanks for
I never want to hear that
having
song.
me, Tom. Good. I love hanging out. I love the show. I'm gonna miss this show next week, but I'll see you all in 2 weeks. If not, I'll see you Tuesday night for me. Thanks, guys.
all right, take care, Nick.
Yeah.
You dude.
Cheers, buddy.
It's like
Greg, Dom.
sometimes people only do things for money. That's just sad.
So
I love you
I
guys.
mean,
You know I love you guys.
just say thank you.
So as Nick said, this movie is perfection. I mean, I absolutely adore it. I must have watched it 20 times. Love everything about it. It just captures a certain zeitgeist correctly. Finally, recently I did Spies Like Us. I think I mentioned it earlier. Donna Dixon, of course. Dan Aykroyd's
Mrs. Dan
wife.
Aykroyd for many
Mrs. Dan Aykroyd
years.
was in Spies Like Us, and she's Garth's dream girl in the Dreamweaver sequence. So that was quite a nice connection to make. But great
Makes you
sound.
feel kind of funny, like when you climb the rope in gym class.
Sometimes they want
Just
you to go after
all of
them.
these
They
great
like it.
weird sequences, the sort of stuff that nerdy people like us love, but we also love the music. So it's everything about it is just class and fun, and it rocks. So it's, I mean, if we had, it's already in there. It's an A. So Greg, I'm sure you.
Oh, absolutely.
agree.
It's in it. Did you ever see that scene in Scanners when the guy's head
Yes,
explodes?
I'm
It's
having.
like,
a
I
good
love it in a
time.
movie. I mean, I love a movie like Scanners being referenced in anything.
I love that.
But
That's
yeah,
got
it's
Good Canadian
this is one of
movie,
those
Scanners.
movies that I mean really defined my high school years.
Mm.
And I mean it came at a time where it was just like I mean I knew what it was. I couldn't believe that all my I mean I had some friends, but I mean all the kids in my school were into it. All the adults around me were into it. I had no idea that this many people were aware of it or were into it. And it was just an explosion of Wayne's World. Like that year, besides, there was a few other movies that year in 92, but Wayne's World was a movie of that year. I saw it in theaters like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
At least. And then I bought the video right away because it did come out as sell-through. And funnily enough, I think it was one of the movies that McDonald's offered for a while for $4.99 that one year. So yeah, I'm sure a lot of people had this movie growing up. It's a great film. What have we said about it that we haven't said? But I mean, the movie itself, we were talking a little bit earlier about how it almost didn't happen. Mike Myers practically wrote Dana Carvey out of the movie because he was threatened by him. So they didn't really get along as well as you'd think.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Dana
No,
was
I
like,
think-
well, what the fuck's the point of me being here? And there was a moment they were going to recast Garth in the movie. It was going to be played by somebody completely different. But
I'm glad they didn't.
I can't remember who said something to Mike in the studio, but they're like, you can't recast it. And so Mike went back and rewrote the part and gave Garth some more stuff to do. And I mean, really, it's their relationship is the movie, right? And as we said with the second one, he totally saves the second film. And I mean, Dana Carvey, bless him, he got the short end of the stick. He was one of the most popular guys on SNL that didn't get a movie career. Yeah. And it's not for lack of trying. And he had some decent films that just didn't take off. But if it wasn't for Wayne's World, I mean, frankly, I think he would have just floated off into obscurity probably.
He'll be immortal just because of that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like, if it wasn't for that movie, I mean, I don't think he would have gotten to make the next few movies he did. And even then, he would just be an obscure SNL, you know, that guy that was there, but nobody remembers anymore.
Yeah, but there's such great dialogue written in it. In its own language, often. It's great. Yeah. Everything about it's fabulous. It's just made for people like us.
I'm the leprechaun.
Stop it, man. You're scaring me.
Yeah.
I want me pot of gold.
Stop it.
I don't think anyone, I mean, I know it gets potentially overplayed, but I don't think anybody will ever. I mean, how rare and unique is that Bohemian Rhapsody scene? I mean, if even my grandchildren know that scene and they're young, it's that famous.
It made Bohemian Rhapsody a #1 hit all over again. I think of the 3 times it was a hit, which I think it's the only song in history to go #1 3 times in three different decades or eras or whatever. Yeah. But I mean, it's just one of those movies that really kind of captured a moment in time. And I can't imagine, you know,
lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, you guys are right. It's a perfect film. The movie is a great story. It doesn't do anything more than what it's supposed to do. Chris Farley's great in it. His point, he plays a different part than he plays in the second movie. But people forget Meatloaf was in it in a cameo.
He's outside. He's the bouncer, isn't he?
Yeah. So who's playing tonight? Crucial Taunt, and they're finishing up, and then we got the shitty Beatles. Are they any good? No, they suck. But it's not just a clever name.
Yeah. It's just every line has got something to say, which is good. You know, there's nothing wasted in it.
Excuse me, baking powder.
I love Ed O'Neill in this too, especially when he gets the camera and he starts talking about his shitty life and everything. Saying, no, come back over here.
Hold up, nobody gets to talk to the camera but me and Garth.
Yeah,
hello.
There's just nothing wasted about it, and then there's no stairway to heaven.
Yeah.
What? No stairway denied.
Zang.
Oh, a lot of Flynn Boyle's hilarious in it too.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to have the cream of some young guy. If you're not careful, Wayne, you're gonna lose me. I have lost you. Get the net. We broke up. I brought you a gift.
A
gun rack?
A gun rack. I don't have a gun, let alone many, to necessitate a rack.
Car.
Yeah, endlessly quotable. Yeah.
Game on,
man.
Yeah.
When she falls through the top of the nightclub, the window at the top of the nightclub.
If somebody kills a man in the heat of passion, is it really considered murder?
You do miss Ed O'Neill in the second one. You really do.
Yes. What are you trying to do? I don't know, Mr. Donut Man. They're trying to kill me, but they better not.
And I do like it. When he's crawling and he's just after he fell on his keys.
Wait, guys.
Was it Garth? I can't remember. That's like the one scene. It always cracks me up. I don't know why, but it's hilarious when they're in the garage and he's playing with the jing, and he goes across the car and he goes across.
Yes, that's Garth. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know why, but that always I just die laughing every time I see that scene. It's just like the way Dana Carvey does that. It just seems like something like somebody like me or some idiot would do.
Man, you should have been at Gasworks last night, man. You should have seen this band Crucial Taunt. Yeah, we were there. Man, they were awesome, man. And they had this bass player. She was a babe. Yeah, we were there. If you're gonna spew into this.
Yeah.
And Tia Carrera singing Ballroom Blitz. It's almost going to be in my.
Tia
It's always
Carrera was.
Just seeing her sing Ballroom Blitz is just good enough for me. That was brilliant.
Oh Lord, and we all knew that there's no fucking way Mike Myers was gonna get Tia Carrera, but damn.
Yeah. Happy birthday
to you,
Mr. President.
Yeah, no matter.
Number one, number two.
I picked up some records today at a rummage sale. Oh yeah, let me check them out. Frampton Comes Alive. Yeah, you've heard of it? Heard of it? I think they used to give it away in the suburbs along with fucking with samples of Tide.
That's right. Yeah. Everybody had that. Couldn't get away from it yet. So that sort of stuff is so spot on. It's absolutely on the nose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
so
stuff.
I think it's pretty obvious that it's an A. So yeah, hopefully you guys agree with the list. You guys helped make it, so if you don't, tough shit, because you helped make it. But let's see what you guys are saying out there. Deadman says you should do a stoner movie tier list. Oh, that's definitely one. That's
no way, man.
On the I would do it next Friday, the 420 next Sunday, but it's Easter, so I'm debating on either.
Could it just have movies with certain bits that are stoner, like Brad Pitt and was it True Romance or whatever it was? That's not a stoner
really
movie.
Broad. I was thinking more like I think Deadman was too like stuff like Cheech and Chong movies, Stone Age, Dazed and Confused maybe would barely fit. How High, yeah. Obviously Half Baked.
It's gonna be more. There'll be a few more.
Clearly stoner based. Yeah. That's a possibility. I'd have to see. I'd have to go through them. And have I seen the movie Wired Action Com? Yes, it's fucking. It's one of those movies that I actually have the VHS tape of. Believe it or not, Greg. It is a bad movie. It's a horrible fucking movie. And what Bill Murray said about it recently is spot on.
Mm-hmm. Did you hear where they, after you read Wired, he can believe how they framed Nixon or whatever?
He didn't even read the whole book. He's like, he got through just like the first few pages, and he's like,
yeah,
man, fuck
it's
these
trash.
guys. I think they fucking
yeah, what they did to him
after what they did to John just in the first few pages. Yeah. Action Com says, I'll never forget the theater's reaction during the Blues Brothers 2. Oh, we got this one already, but thank you again, Action Com. E. Clay Thomason says, I say hurl, and if you blow chunks and she comes back, she's yours. But if you spiel and she bolts, then it was never meant to be. Wayne was a wise. Yes.
Absolutely wise words.
Yes.
Very, very wise words indeed. Yes. And yeah, I mean, Wayne's World, again, it was right in that cusp of, Bill and Ted, Beavis and Butthead, Wayne and Garth. They were just another one of those that we had, but they were the buddy comedies, and they were huge at that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I did think, like you said, like I know, like when Paul was here and they talked about it being Canadian and all that, but I did believe it's like you said, they tapped into something like in suburban America, and yes, it's suburban Canada too. But it's just
yeah, it's a misconception that blue collar suburban Canada is radical. It exists, and it's not that radically different from many blue collar. So it's the same cultural references. Much of the time, not all of the time. There are some, as even Paul mentioned, some Canadian bands that you might have heard of in America, but a lot of the cultural references are the same.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a similar experience in some ways. Just a different flavor of icing on the top.
Yeah.
Well, and I love what Wayne's World also has is when you're dropped into the movie. I mean, you get a little introduction from Wayne, but it has this built-in universe. Right, like we know they're sitting on the Mirthmobile, right? Like it has its own little unit. The Ed O'Neill character, the Chris Farley characters, the show itself, and I love how on SNL we only got to see the skits, right, of the show, right? It was never outside of that. And once you get to the movie, it almost brilliantly works in that. I mean, I remember when this movie was coming out, there was a lot of adults and critics predicting that it was going to flop because they're like, how do you make a movie out of an SNL skit?
Yeah.
And not only that, Wayne's World wasn't your typical SNL skit either.
We have seen that with a lot of the movies on the list tonight, that a lot of them were a skit that could not be expanded into a movie. It just
exactly
didn't
my
work.
point. So it's not like the critics weren't wrong. And Wayne's World on paper, especially if you know the skits, you're like, this shouldn't work as a fucking movie. But why it works is because we get into these guys' life and they're likable. They're lovable. They're goofy guys. They are just trying to have a good time. They just want to party on, like Bill and Ted, right? Like they're genuinely sweet dudes who don't have a real ill bone in their body outside of, Lara Flynn Boyle's character. and of course, eventually Rob Lowe's
Psycho
character.
Hose Beast.
Yeah, but what's also funny is how this movie brought Rob Lowe back. People forgot. What he kind of fucked himself, and this was the movie that put him back on the map. So yeah, I mean, you got Brian Doyle Murray, who we haven't even mentioned yet.
Yeah,
and then Colleen Camp playing his wife. I mean, and the cast in this is fucking amazing. I mean, and there's not even that many SNL alumni other than
not really
Chris Farley, and I think is Phil Hartman in this one or is he in the second one? I think he's in one of them.
He might be in this.
I think he's in the second one for some reason. I could be wrong. But like, so there isn't even that many SNL because I think they shot this right as their break was going on. So like, it was one of those bam, bam, bam. They shot this movie real quick when it finally did get up and running, and it made a bunch of money at the box office, like over $150 million, I think it was, or closer to 200. I could be wrong. With inflation, you're looking at a lot. It's one of the biggest comedies of all time.
I remember being huge. Like everybody was talking about this. Yeah. Everybody. And didn't we discover something about the way Rob Lowe is in this movie? It because he's not credited for Tommy Boy at all, and it was something to do with like Wayne's World or something. Didn't we discover that?
I don't remember if it had something to do with Wayne's, but there's something. Yeah, I remember. I forgot what it was, but he's not credited because it's something to do with Lorne.
Yes, it has something to do with Lorne Michaels, and that's he can't be credited in Tommy Boy.
Yeah, I forgot what it was. It was some deal. I'd have to look it up. Somebody in the chat might remember. But yeah, Siskel was one of the few critics who actually got it, I think. Because I don't think Gene liked it. Or did Gene like it? Maybe he did give it a marginal thumbs up. But I remember, or Siskel did, or Roger, I was the one who wasn't sure who liked it as much. That was what I meant.
But yeah, it's great. They wrote the way it was written. They didn't just take the sketch. You barely see them doing that stuff in the movie. And, they've written a complete and consistent story around it. They've not just tried to stretch the sketch out. The nearest equivalent I can think of would be Strange Brew, Bob and Doug McKenzie from SCTV. Right. Very similar to Wayne's World. Two guys sitting in front of a camera for 3 minutes riffing on something. They took that and made a completely... The
skit was very same thing,
Yeah, and very similar to Wayne's World, but no music, obviously, but they took... Well, other than Geddy Lee being on the album.
Well, maybe even that's probably where Mike Myers got some of the inspiration from. I wouldn't be fucking surprised.
There's quite a lot of similar feeling comedy in it, yeah.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if that's where he didn't take
that's a similar. They've managed to take a very small skit and turn it into a proper movie with an actual plot.
Yeah.
It works, So.
It's like this does feel like a built-in, lived-in world. So like when they leave the couch and you get out of the sketch and you go into their world, it's like, yes, you completely buy it. It feels like you don't even need to be introduced to it. It's just like, yeah, this is where these guys live. This is where they hang out.
I mean, it's like our world, but it's not exactly like our world.
Yeah,
right? Like it's a little like the
some fantastical things in it, but yeah,
there is. Yeah, like you have like the people that are in their skits are kind of like in their worlds around them now. Like they figured out how to crack the code with this one, how to make it work. But yes, Brian, I remember now. You're right. It had something to do with his obligation to do with The Stand. He wasn't allowed to star in any other movies or something because of the contract with that. The credit thing. So like, yeah. So, but he did get paid, I think. But like, he just couldn't be credited or whatever it was. And then I think he was freaking out because they had him in like all the trailers and shit. Dead Man says, how about Kevin Smith tier list? How about not?
Is there really enough movies to make a tier list?
There is, but I would have done it pre-He-Man. That fucking guy though blocked me, not just on. It's not blocking me on X that bothers me. It's blocking me on YouTube. because that means he literally, him or one of his people, had to go into the back part of YouTube and put my Midnight's Edge After Dark into their thing. And yeah, so like, yeah. Unless, because I don't think they blocked me during a stream, because I was already like pre-blocked, because I went in and I checked it. It was like, yeah, anyway. Action Com says, Greg, the Nixon Foundation YouTube website actually clipped Bill Murray's Wired bit and edited it to a Nixon interview about Woodward and Bernstein.
Oh, vicious.
Well, I've seen that, the one dude on CNN so many times now that I'm just like, is this the same guy that fucked Nixon? Like, I don't get it. Like,
interesting one, John McTiernan.
John McTiernan tier list?
Director tier list.
Tier list?
McTier list.
That's a plausibility. I mean, we'll definitely want to do some.
There would definitely be tears in that list.
Yes.
Some people would be crying.
Peter Jackson's would be another good one, yeah.
And
the problem with high fantasy Clay is like curating the list, because like as you guys saw here, we just had, I think it's 11 movies, and it took us almost 2 hours to do that, right? And we didn't even spend that much time talking about each one of them. And there's sometimes when there's some of these movies where we really get into them. So I try to curate. Even 11 is kind of big. Try to keep it under 10, because you kind of figure a couple minutes per movie, especially depending on how big your panel is. So I got to take all those things.
We're huge.
Yeah, I got to take.
I get a big panel
into consideration.
Anyway.
On that note, I think we're going to get all out of here. So thank you, Brian, for popping in here. Thank you, Nick, for being here. Thank you, Paul, for being here. Thank you, Greg, for being here. Check out Fanzine, of course. Tell them about the channel.
Yes, go over there if you like physical media and like horror movies, B movies, and stuff like that. Go over there, check me out. I just did 2 interviews with, speaking of Canada, a Canadian Scream Queen actress who does a horror movie host. She's August Kiss. Great chick, I like her. Then I interviewed the director of my Dinner with Leatherface, who's also the acquisitions guy for the new Anchor Bay, which, Tom, we may have him on the Physical Media channel soon. So yes, I interviewed him. That's a great interview. I'll have a video tomorrow. And then as always, Wednesdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, Tom and I do the Physical Media show where we bring on what we've watched for the week on our physical copies. So check me out.
Awesome sauce.
Nice.
Brian, tell me about what you guys going on.
Thanks, Tom. That was a lot of fun. It's good to hang out with Greg as well. Good to see you, mate. Tomorrow, on my channel, that 70s Rock Fan, we will be talking. We're going to go back to a subject I haven't talked about as much as I would like, but probably will more in the future, which is the wonderful world of Hammer films. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about the 1970 movie The Vampire Lovers, which was a bit of a landmark movie in their history, as it introduced slightly more lesbian eroticism into the horror. What a terrible subject to be covering. So anyway, Vampire Lovers tomorrow. That should be a lot of fun. The great Ingrid Pitt, amongst others, Madeline Smith, and of course the usual Hammer gothic gore to go with it. So that will be tomorrow.
Jason Webster must really want us to watch this thing. So Jason Webster says again, never mess with the elite SEALs of the Democratic Penguin Republic. They're real tough.
Yeah, it's that island, isn't it? The Hooden McDonald Island or something.
Where frost bites deep and men can't be, our empire stands beside the endless sea. In storm and silence, cold and pure, we do not freeze, we just endure. But an orange hand reached out in shame, and now the world shall learn our name. The silence breaks, no more delay, the order stands, we march today. Oh, march, march, sons of the ice, for our holy island they shall pay the price. They taxed our fish, then asked for more, we answer tariffs with total war. You saw the map and laughed out loud. Now MacDonald Island burns your crowd. Not men in gear, but beasts we bred. Our seals strike where yours have fled. We had no ports, no market plan, yet still became the enemy of man. But the snow stands tall, our banners fly. The democratic penguins' republic shall never die. Ooh, march, march, sons of the ice. For our holy island they shall pay the price. They taxed our fish, then asked for more. We answer tariffs with total war.
I want to know where they got the hardware from. Where did they get all that hardware from? Who's supplying them?
America.
You see, without tariffs.
Yeah, without tariffs.
The arms were not
Arms
tariffed.
Of course.
Well, they've armed
All right.
everybody else in the world, so why not?
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys, for that. That was interesting. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you next time on the tier list or Midnight's Edge After Dark or Midnight's Edge in the Morning or one of these guys' channels. You never know.
Have a great night, everyone.
See you later.